Welcome to hour number 2 live right here, bright and early on this Thursday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. 2 more hours to go up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. Plenty more conversation from the NFL owner meetings this week in Minneapolis. Not just the tush push surviving, but the other things that were voted on and decided yesterday in the Twin Cities. We'll talk Major League Baseball from a full slate on a Wednesday around the Bigs, recapping it all here on this Thursday morning. We'll talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being crowned NBA MVP for the first time in his career. Did the NBA get it right? Has voter fatigue really played itself out? We'll discuss in just a matter of moments. And then Mark Zinno makes his triumphant return. We'll ask him about all of the proposed rule changes in the National Football League. And Donnie, we know that Zinno will have many a take on all the news around the NFL.
Absolutely. Hot topics going around. I just wish it was more heat here on the Northeast because it's cold temperatures trying to keep, these baseball games. And by the way, Ben, there's a game played today that we're looking at maybe 20 mile an hour blowing dead in from center field. Temperatures that won't get as high as 47 degrees and rain in the forecast. What month is this? It's certainly not close to Memorial Day, I'll tell you that.
No, it's certainly not, DRS. It is truly 40 degrees here in New York City with rain and wind. It's Memorial Day weekend. 2 days from now, the unofficial kickoff to summer. It is ridiculous. Supposed to get nicer through the holiday weekend. We hope it is better weather wherever you may be watching this show right now. So, of course, DRS, the tush push was the main headline yesterday out of the Twin Cities. It's surviving for another season in the NFL. But plenty more was decided this week at the NFL owner meetings. We talked about Olympic participation allowed. NFL players will have the potential to participate in the 2028 Summer Olympic Games in flag football. The onside kick slightly tweaked. Now, instead of just being the trailing team in the fourth quarter and declaring it, you can be trailing at any point of the game and declare an onside kick, and you will do so from 1 yard closer, trying to up the success rate, I guess, of that kicking team. No changes to the playoff format. That was tabled. The Lions did not have the necessary support for that playoff format fix. The Buffalo Bills have been selected as the team to be on Hard Knocks in August on HBO. The training camp edition, the original edition of Hard Knocks, will be a fascinating study of the Buffalo Bills and a new award in the offseason in the National Football League, the Protector of the Year. I love it, given to the best offensive lineman in the National Football League the year prior.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You get the big uglies up front that don't get a lot of the special accolades from the guys that throw the passes, catch them, run the touchdowns in. So it's good to see them getting recognized also. But understand this, we look at so many of these rule changes coming in, and yes, the Detroit Lions just didn't even get a vote because of how embarrassing that was here, similar to the Green Bay Packers. If it came from the NFL and you're voting on it, okay, let's see what happens here. But the fact that you are putting forward these proposals that nobody really wants at this point and they're getting defeated, which I do think is pretty funny. But also, looking from an NFL perspective heading into next year, I'm glad they kept, because divisions matter. Keep those same things together. It's a prize for you to win that division. You win it, you get a home game, and away you go into the playoffs. So for me, I look at some of those choices there and say, all right, it does make some sense. The onside tweak, why do you have to be losing? The play was never that bad for injuries to begin with. You can add elements of surprise. And also, why do you have to be losing? Why can't you be hey, I just want to increase my lead. I'm going to go onside kick right here. Why does it have to be losing? I don't know. It's just some things that the NFL doesn't technically make some sense. And this is one of those.
I'm also very confused because there's been no official statement on the change to the rule, but by reports from The Athletic's Diana Rossini and only of The Athletic, the onside kick will now be taken from the 34-yard line, which would not, as the proposal stated, move the kick closer to the receiving team, which would almost make it more difficult if we're trying to up the success rate from a 6% clip from a season ago, the first year of the new dynamic kickoff rule in the NFL, to moving it back. Is it giving you more space to build up momentum, to take out the opponent on the other side? You would almost think, DRS, you would want to shorten the gap in the amount of time that allows the kickoff team to get down there and cause some chaos for a loose ball. I don't really get that. Again, no official statement yet, but we thought it was going to be moved a yard closer. So the kicking team from the 36-yard line instead of the 35, by reports, it's going to move back to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just don't want it to be like an extra. You move it up so you get an extra yard, I guess, if you recover it at this point. That doesn't really make too much sense to me at this point. But also, we're really close to doing away with this and bastardizing the game and going to a 4th and 15. Or even worse, why don't you just have one guy eligible to catch the onside kick and have the other team have 7 guys eligible to recover it? Because you really want to reward the team that has lost the entire game with an extra chance to come back, which absolutely makes no sense in the spirit of competition.
I do think that would be pretty cool, though, right? Like a game of 3 flags up. You just throw it up, and you have 3 guys trying to take out the receiver of the football. That would be kind of fun. All right, outside of the NFL, we'll have plenty more on the rules that were voted on, that were upheld, all of that with Mark Zinno, and I'm sure he will have some fiery and flying hot takes coming your way on this Thursday morning in just a little bit in the second half hour of this hour number 2. Let's talk some Major League Baseball from a full slate on a Wednesday. The New York Yankees, the biggest comeback perhaps in the 5 boroughs last night. They forced their way back to take game number 2 against the Texas Rangers. Aaron Judge tied the game in the home half of the 8th with an RBI single at 3-all. Home half of the 9th, a walk-off home run from the youngster Jason Dominguez gives the Yankees a 4-3 win. First walk-off home run, DRS, for the Pinstripes since September of 2022, 974 days ago.
Yeah, I like the fact that they did have a solo walk-off and did get the extra innings because I like the under 7.5 in that game. 4-3 stays under that total. But also, we talked about the 2 pitchers coming into that game. Jacob deGrom, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs on the road. He was wonderful. And Ryan Yarbrough, who actually had a high xFIP number but a low ERA. And as we told you yesterday, the Rangers don't hit left-handed pitching all that well. He goes 5 innings, only 3 hits, and 1 earned run, which was a solo home run that he gave up. So the pitchers certainly performed yesterday. But by the way, you triggered something for me, Ben, which I forgot to talk about here. You know, the Bronx Bombers, they play in one of the boroughs. Why do the New York Knicks have win it for the boroughs? Like, does Brooklyn not have their own NBA team? Like, shouldn't it be win it for 4 of the boroughs? I didn't understand that.
Well, is that a saying the New York Knicks have win it for the boroughs?
Yeah, their T-shirt that they wear on the like their shooting shirts say "Win it for the boroughs." That's like their slogan for the playoffs through Nike or the NBA, whatever it is. But isn't that like a shot at Brooklyn? Like, no, we have our own borough with a team. Think, right? You're not winning it for Brooklyn. Yeah, I don't get it. Win it for the 4 boroughs. Win it for Manhattan. Win it for Uptown. Like, how about that? I don't know.
Listen, we just learned how deep the ties are for the Brooklyn Nets in the greater New York City metropolitan area. We have a new intern, Jesse, who started this week. He said he grew up during the D'Angelo Russell era. That's how young he is. Grew up during the D'Lo era. And because of the fun there for Brooklyn, he is a Nets fan despite living in Manhattan. That was a really dated myself D'Angelo Russell era. So you're right, DRS. Some of those boroughs, even the one in Manhattan, still looks across the East River to the Barclays Center. We'll have plenty more around Major League Baseball on the other side of the break. We'll talk some NBA MVP odds, or not odds, the recipient of the award in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All of that, Donnie, in a compact segment. We'll fly around. We'll have some fun here in hour number 2 on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. We do it for the boroughs as well. Even regional Philadelphia next.
Yep.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Well,
let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Some quick Major League Baseball recaps from a full Wednesday around the bigs on the diamond, I should say. Rubber match of a divisional duel this weekend at Chavez Ravine between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Dustin May outduels Corbin Burns. Neither pitcher bad. The only earned runs given up by either side off a long ball. Ketel Marte, a solo shot in the top of the fourth against May. A 3-1 shot off the bat of Teoscar Hernandez against Corbin Burns in the home half of the sixth. And that was the difference. LA takes the rubber match and the series DRS against the Diamondbacks with a 3-1 victory in the finale last night in LA.
Take it any way that you can get it, too. Good to see Teoscar Hernandez back here smashing some home runs. A good sign there for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But also, this was a true defensive game. 3-1 final. Take a look at the runners in scoring position. Only 3 for the entire game for the Diamondbacks and 2 for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tough, hard-fought divisional game goes to the Dodgers.
Yes, it certainly does. And now they have extended their lead in the National League West. The San Diego Padres, sensational at home. What do they win their first 11 or 12 games inside Petco Park this year? Sub 500 now on the road, getting beat bad by the Blue Jays yesterday up in Toronto. 14-zip. San Diego now 11-12 away from Southern California. The Blue Jays back to an even 500, 24-24 early this season.
Yeah, Kevin Gausman with a good performance. 7 innings pitched, no earned runs, and 9 strikeouts, lowering his ERA to 4.03. I had been struggling on the season. The one guy that I'd love to fade every single time, because I had a Toronto Blue Jays alt-team total to the over, and my guy Randy Vasquez has like a 37 xFIP minus number and also a decent ERA. He finally gave through in the 5th inning, gave up a 2-out, 2-run shot here, and then the avalanche started once he was pulled out of the game. 7th and 8th innings, all Blue Jays, easy win, 2 touchdowns on the board for them. A lot of guys getting off at the plate here. Big win for Toronto, but you're right. The struggling San Diego Padres still sit at 27-20, which is fine, but they can't get out of their own way right now.
The Blue Jays have blanked the San Diego Padres in each of the first 2 games of this midweek set in Toronto. 3-0, the victory in the opener as well. The Padres, of course, it seems, DRS, have not been able to overcome the devastation of being swept in the inaugural Vetter Cup Series, and that one was in San Diego against the Seattle Mariners over the weekend. 5-game slide now for the Padres. Justin Verlander to be placed on the 15-day IL, dealing with a pectoral injury for the Houston Astros. Of course, Verlander now north of 40. I think he's 42 in year number 18. Oh, he's on the Giants? Sorry, I forgot that. Justin
That's
who
how
he
bad he's
played
been.
for on the San Francisco Giants. The Giants, though, 2 games, but I don't know. Whatever. Justin Verlander on the IL. He now, of course, plays for the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, an old pitcher going the IL. Where have we heard that story before? They were just trying to squeeze a little bit more out of that lemon here for the season. It doesn't look like it's going all that well. In a true pitcher's ballpark, you'd like to end your career on a high note. We don't know.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a good season for Verlander. Now injuries piling up as well.
20th year in Major League Baseball for Justin Verlander, playing his first in San Francisco. He is indeed 42 years old. The New York Mets avoid a sweep inside Fenway Park against the Red Sox, moving up their lineup, moving around their lineup just a little bit. Juan Soto still struggling. We'll talk with Mark Zito about that. The Minnesota Twins walk it off against the Guardians to complete the game that started on Monday, DRS, in that matchup in Minneapolis as well. We thought it was live at like 9 a.m. Central Time. The Twins continue to win a ton of baseball games here as of late.
Yeah, good for them, too. And also just nasty conditions, too, to complete some of those games and start some of those games. Just trying to fight through it to get to the month of June, which hopefully is warmer temperatures across the East Coast and certainly the northern boundaries of the United States. But, hey, look, pick up some victories when you can get them. Doesn't matter if it's cold, wet, however you get it done. Just win, baby.
The Guardians did return the favor in the nightcap, winning 5-1 inside
5-1.
Target Field in the Twin Cities. The Guardians, the Royals, the Twins, and the Tigers, all teams in the American League Central, at least 4 games above 500 or better. The Tigers, 33-17, best record around Major League Baseball. We'll talk about a 9-game slate on a Thursday in the Bigs a little bit later on in hour number 3. DRS, from the odds perspective, it was not surprising nor stunning that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was running away with the NBA MVP award, and he was crowned the winner of the Most Valuable Player hardware yesterday. First time in his career that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander wins the MVP. He led the league in scoring at nearly 33 points per game. His team won 68 games in the regular season to earn that number 1 overall seed out west and the NBA's best record through and through. I do not think you or I were surprised at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being the hefty favorite to win NBA MVP, or the fact that he ended up winning the award. But if you don't do things through the odds perspective, and you are just looking at the numbers, and you see Nikola Jokic averaging a 29-point triple-double this season, you might have thought to yourself, well, how does the guy on the right, Jokic, not win his 4th MVP hardware in the last 5 years? Is it voter fatigue, or is it SGA being the league's leading scorer, earning that scoring title, and, of course, playing for the best team in the association this season?
All that goes into it. Play for the best team, be the best player. You get this added incentives there. And also for a guy that's won multiple MVPs, maybe it's just not his year, even though he averaged a triple-double as a big man, which is crazy. So I don't have any issue with SGA. And also understand this, just like winning the All-Pro, let's just say in the NFL, you have to be like an All-Pro like 2 years before you actually win All-Pro, because you have to like prove your medal. And SGA has been in this conversation for a couple years, which included last year. It was his time. Like, if he's not going to win it with a team that scores, wins 68 games and he has that type of season, when is he ever going to win it? So I do appreciate the voters going like, you know what? This is his time. This is his season. Even if it wasn't as good statistically as Nikola Jokic, give him the award. I have no issues with it. He's the MVP.
And it might seem unfair, but sometimes your own standards of success hinder what we now expect of you. You look at 30, 13, and 10 for the Joker, and you're like, yeah, what else is new? Being top 3 in all of those categories around the NBA this year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the league in scoring, averaging more than 30 points per game and shooting better than 50% from the floor 3 consecutive years. One of 5 players in NBA history to ever pull that off, now alongside Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Michael Jordan. A little bit more on the MVP and his team entering Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals next.
Looking for an edge in betting basketball? Injuries can make or break a game. Get insider knowledge from Dr. David Chow and the team of experts with Sick Picks at Sports Injury Central. We reveal hidden health-based advantages the sports books miss. Our doctors provide insights, and our algorithm tells you who to bet on. Spreads, props, totals, in-game bets, Sick Picks covers it all. Go to SickScore.com and sign up for Sick Picks and use the promo code SportsGrid for a free week today.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas.
Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid. We roll on in hour number 2. Ahead of game number 2 tonight in OKC between the Thunder and the T-Wolves in the Western Conference Finals. We'll look at that game in just a matter of moments. And OKC, of course, trying to take that commanding 2-0 series advantage. Officially, as we expected, the Thunder will enter game number 2 with the current NBA MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, winning the hardware for the first time in his career. What I found incredibly fascinating, DRS, for a basketball blue blood, collegiately, who has seen great success both at the college level and plenty of NBA pros, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the first Kentucky Wildcat to ever win the NBA MVP hardware. That was stunning for me yesterday. In the 10th time, DRS, in NBA history, that a player averaged more than 30 points per game, led the league in scoring, and had their team win at least 60 games. That was SGA this season for OKC. Of course, the Thunder, the most wins in the NBA, 68 victories this year. 9 of those 10 times now, that player who has led the league in scoring and his team winning at least 60 games has won the NBA MVP hardware. The only time it did not happen, 1996-97, Michael Jordan was the leading scorer in the NBA. The Bulls won more than 60 games, but Karl Malone, won the NBA MVP hardware. Again, voter fatigue is nothing new in the association.
Yeah, voter fatigue is always going to be there, and that's just a human element. And also saying, you know what, let's recognize another person who's on top of their game. They might not get back to this mountain again, and SGA has had a couple good years here building up to it. And again, his team, put it this way, he doesn't win the MVP, I don't think, Ben, if they win 51 games and finish the 6th overall seed in the Western Conference. He wasn't going to do that. You do need to get some of the extracurriculars, which again, to the victor goes the spoils. You have the best team in the NBA. Your player is equally on footing ground, or equal footing to go up against, let's just say, Nikola Jokic. He's going to get the benefit. He really is at that point. It happened. He won the MVP, and he should have, and I'm okay with that.
And there's been times when Nikola Jokic was not playing for the first place Denver Nuggets and still won the MVP hardware. But the fact that Oklahoma City had a direct 18-game differential in their favor over Denver should and I believe did contribute to what we saw. And SGA doesn't get a ton of credit for what he does defensively, but 208 stocks this year. That's steals plus blocks, third most in the NBA. He is pretty good on that side of the floor. Of course, that will be a storyline entering Game 2 tonight, DRS, between the Thunder and the Timberwolves. The difference in officiating. OKC allowed to play with a ton of physicality against Minnesota on the defensive side of the floor. The Timberwolves were not necessarily given that same wiggle room, perhaps, in the opening game of the Western Conference Finals that led to OKC storming back despite trailing by 4 in the second at the halftime break, winning the final 2 quarters by 30 to win game number 1 by 26 in total, 114-88. Game number 2 tonight in OKC. The Thunder, a 7.5-point favorite against the Timberwolves, a total of 215. Your initial impressions, DRS, of game number 2 tonight in Oklahoma City, what are they?
I already have it played out in this series. I loved OKC in game number 1. I love the Minnesota Timberwolves in game number 2. And it's not the X's and O's. It's not what I watched in the second half where the Oklahoma City Thunder absolutely pulled away from the Timberwolves or Anthony Edwards played poorly. I just look at it by saying one team was rested, and that was the Timberwolves. They weren't necessarily still in playoff mode as were the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now we're more on equal footing in game number 2, and I expect different results. Do I expect the Timberwolves to win this game outright? Not necessarily, but you know where I'm going, Ben? I am taking the points. I love the 7.5 tonight with the Minnesota Timberwolves to get back into the series, or should I say, at least be competitive and be back into this series.
I completely agree, DRS. And we asked our coach, J.Y. James Young, yesterday, what do you expect for game number 2? And he said it's not so much about the result. Of course, it will be incredibly impactful for how this series plays out, but how game number 2 looks and just how competitive it is supposed to be. The Timberwolves, as an underdog in this postseason, now 2-2 straight up and against the spread. OKC booked as at least a 5-point favorite in all 12 of their playoff games now. Only 5 and 7 ATS, but all 5 covers have come when OKC has won by at least 19 points. The Thunder are a hefty favorite entering this series. You win game number 1 on your home floor, taking advantage of that scenario by 26 points, DRS. Of course, your odds to win this series grow even larger. Minus 750 for the Thunder to win this series outright entering game number 2, and we expect it to be done quick. I'm not so sure that's the case. We'll discuss further later on here on this Thursday on the early line. But welcome back, Mark Zinno, next on TEL.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
If you believe he should be in the Hall of Fame, there's, let's let him wait another 2 years. Wait, he's already dead at this point. Like, what are you waiting for? Another 2 to 3 years. He's either in or he's out. And sometimes you look at that too, Thomas, like you can't tell, the history of Major League Baseball without Pete Rose.
Frankly, the writers have some standard that they want to hold players to, which seems to fluctuate on a player-to-player basis. So he should be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not sure how quickly he'll get there.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those 2 teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen
Just a little
experience.
flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
In the commercial break, you learn that some things never change, even if it has been a minute. And that is Mark Zinno. He is back right here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. Zinno, it's been a while, but we're glad to have you back here on TEL. And we look forward to our topics of conversation, most notably the NFL owner meetings and the changes to NFL rules that were passed and those that were not over these past few days in Minneapolis. It's going to be a fun 3 segments together.
Always great to be with you guys. You know how much I love you guys, and this is my favorite 30 minutes of my week, to say the least. When I say things that makes Ben's jaw hit the table and Donnie Rightside turn around and go, I kind of like where he's going with that. So
That's
it's great
right,
to be
man.
back with you guys.
Lifts me up. Get lifted up.
And DRS pays you your proper respect at all times. Certainly never offensive in doing so. All right, Zinno, of course, the biggest hot button topic in the National Football League this week in Minnesota at those owner meetings, the tush push. Will it be banned? Will it survive? As we learned yesterday, it survives for at least another season. The Green Bay Packers' proposal to ban this play falls 2 votes short of the necessary 24 for the supermajority. 22 yeses, 10 no's. The tush push is alive and well in the National Football League. So, Mark, the natural question to you, did the NFL owners in the ultimate decision get it right?
The short answer is yes. But look, remember, we're here for a couple of reasons. One, we are here because a simple thing happened in the NFL over the course of the last 10 years. Every offensive coordinator who thinks that they are smarter than the world, who thinks that they are just so much more innovative and bright than everybody else, decided that the statistics that had shown through 2019 that if you did a QB sneak on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, you converted it 88% of the time. They said, no, that's not good enough. I'm going to be in a 5 wide receiver set and shotgun when I need 1 yard. Look at this, guys. No one's going to expect this coming. But okay, just QB sneak it and let's move on. So the Philadelphia Eagles said, screw that. It's only 1 yard. We'll take the 88%. We're just going to push our guy forward because when you need 1 yard, that's only 3 feet. And my quarterback is 6 feet. That's twice as long. Okay, so if I fall forward, I'm good. Very simple stuff here. We got away from the quarterback sneak as a thing, and the Eagles came back in and sort of revolutionized it. And, oh, by the way, the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Do you really think there would have been a ban if the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl? Of course they wouldn't have pushed to ban this thing if the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl, right? And watch what happens. If the Eagles make a deep playoff run again, this will actually pass next year. I can guarantee it. Because all the Eagles have to do is beat a team on a tush push that voted, no, we're not going to ban it. And when they lose a game on it, they'll go, you know what, maybe we should ban that. Because that's how this is going to go again. So, I mean, again, I think they got it right. But I keep saying they're approaching this wrong, guys. The easiest thing to do, if you'd like to make this equitable, isn't to ban the tush push. It's just to allow defensive players to push each other back, which is currently a foul. One defensive player cannot push another defensive player. It is a penalty. If you allow them to push back and you could put force on force, let's go back to our high school physics. Force equals mass times acceleration. If we put equal force on each other, boom, we'll have a more equitable play, but they won't do that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too, Mark. Let me ask you this question too about the tush push, like in totality for 2025. With it being approved again, are other teams going to say, you know what? Why don't we do this as well? Now, maybe you don't do it as well, but you're right about this. Quarterback sneaks in the past. Who was the best quarterback sneak guy in the history with that we thought?
Tom Brady. Bingo.
Yeah, the most unathletic quarterback, and he's getting first downs. So if you are an organization, your beat writers need to ask you, will you be using this because it's legal and you can automatically get a first down?
Listen, I pressed Raheem Morris on this in Atlanta with his 4th and 1 go for it philosophy and literally gave him those same numbers. That the 88% on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Yep. And it was even broken down over 10-year periods, and it was even higher, I mean, at certain points, because the tush push has become such a thing. I'm with you, DRS, but the problem is that, like, the Chiefs are never going to do this because if somebody falls on Patrick Mahomes' legs and he gets hurt, they'll never hear the end of it, right? Like, why you have the greatest quarterback who throws the ball, you're not paying him to run. Why would he even put him in this situation? You have to have a quarterback whose body physically can be able to handle it. Now, again, you think Bill Belichick cared about Tom Brady's body? No, he cared about getting the first down more. So he said, Tommy, just take the ball and fall forward. I wish more coaches would do it. There's no reason not to. I don't know that coaches are going to return to it because, again, 5 wide receiver sets in shotgun, or giving it to the running back who's 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage when you need 1 yard to go forward always made a ton of sense to me. Like, let me hand the ball 7 yards backwards when all I got to do is go 1 yard forward. It's bad coaching all around, DRS. You're 100% correct. I don't know why coaches have over-innovated this thing. Just QB sneak it.
The team that attempted to do something as similar to the brotherly shove that Philadelphia has had great success with, the Buffalo Bills, who ran
until
their
the playoff game when they got
2022 NFL season. I know, let's not get into that just yet, but the Buffalo Bills ran Josh Allen on 1 yard to go situations, second most in the NFL in the last 3 seasons, only behind Philadelphia, and yet Sean McDermott was very vocal coming out against the tush push and trying to get the play banned back in the earlier spring meetings in Palm Beach for the NFL. He was even pressed by those beat writers. Well, what if it survives? Will you still run it? He basically said, we'll do what's best for our football team. And so that's the really interesting component of this conversation. In my opinion, it feels like a triumph for Philadelphia, for the Eagles in the immediate aftermath of winning a Lombardi trophy. But every team is allowed to do it. And 9 other NFL organizations, along with the Birds, voted against the proposal yesterday in Minneapolis. And yet, our focus is on the Eagles and their owner, Jeffrey Lurie, campaigning incredibly passionately for this play to exist, bringing in Jason Kelce, the retired center, to campaign to make sure the ban would not see its day. So we see the 2 replica Lombardi trophies behind Donnie Rightside to celebrate the Eagles' triumphant victories in the National Football League. Zeno, as we focus now on Philadelphia, does it feel like this is an off-season early win for the Eagles entering 2025?
I mean, look, it makes their lives a lot easier that they don't have to reinvent their own wheel, right? Like, I think that certainly helps because you aren't going to stop Jalen Hurts from getting the ball on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 going forward. Look, I think Sean McDermott and the Bills, they were able to look at this and go, yeah, we want to ban it because guess what? Josh Allen doesn't need a push from anybody. He's 240 pounds. He's 6'5". He can knock half the linebackers in the league on their keisters. So he doesn't need anybody to push him. What he needs is the refs to get the call right in the postseason, and that'll change things. But I digress from that painful moment. Yeah, beyond that. The Eagles are going to be tough regardless, with or without this thing. So they were going to still be able to win the NFC East and go back to the postseason. I don't think it really impacted them one way or another. Again, it's just one less thing they got to do this offseason instead of coming up with a new version of the tush push.
I thought it would have been really interesting, too, if the tush push did get banned and the Eagles came up with a different formation, a different way to sort of go against those rules and all of a sudden have that chip on their shoulder. So I do think more teams should use the tush push here. But you are looking at the Eagles season. It's 11.5 market also. The NFC East getting the draw of having 2 tough divisions and then having a first-place schedule for the Eagles. The 11 is, they should be able to get 12 wins out of 17 games. That is a hell-on-wheel schedule that they have. But at least they do have the tush push. What's your outlook here for the defending champions and what they expect to do this season?
It's going to take a Herculean effort to upseed them. Look, I think Washington regresses. I think it's really hard for them to duplicate another 10, 11-win season because everybody knows what's coming now. You can catch people by surprise in year 1. I don't think it happens in year 2. Can the Cowboys stay healthy enough? Can they keep Dak upright for 17 games to be competitive? Sure. Can the Giants not be an embarrassment? Will be the only question we'll ask about the New York Giants. But remember, we're here for giggles, right, Jameis? Thanks. Beyond that, the Eagles should win the NFC East this year.
3 now.
He should be QB 9.
Yeah. We still have that long-standing and quirky trend in the NFC East. We have not seen a repeat
back-to-back
divisional champion in the NFC East since 2004. Should be noted, the last NFL team to do that in that division was the Philadelphia Eagles. The other rule changes this week in Minneapolis. What is in our thoughts next?
the Tigers, 31-17, Matt, on the season. They've got the best pitching in baseball, but don't look now. The Twins are now on their heels at 26-21.
The best hitters can't stay healthy. We obviously saw a situation last week where two of those guys got hurt on the same play. So that's the Twins, and I think Twins fans, I'm up in Twins country. Twins fans know that up here, and you're kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Boston knew they were in trouble, Tom, but the most important thing is they fed off of their crowd, and in that third quarter, when Boston could have made a run, the Knicks just put that one last run together to put the game away.
So it was good to see them, to round this all together, good to see them finally put all the pieces in place to close out the series and say, yes, we are playing our best basketball, because that's what they're going to need against the Pacers.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division, to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So much decided on this week in Minneapolis for the future of the NFL. Either votes that were passed or votes that never happened, but some critical proposals this week for the owners to decide on. And Mark Zinno is here for a second consecutive segment to react to all of that. Zinno, this is your wheelhouse. You have free will if you decide to go whichever way you would like, looking at what we saw this week with the big headlines around the NFL owner meetings. NFL players being allowed to participate in the Summer Olympic Games in flag football in 2028. Onside kick rule slightly tweaked. There was no vote on the playoff format, so no changes to that playoff format. The Buffalo Bills being the subject of Hard Knocks, the training camp edition this upcoming August, and a new offensive line award, protector of the year in the NFL, best O-lineman in the National Football League season by season. Zeno, of those five big things decided this week outside of the tush push in the Twin Cities, where do you want to go first?
Well, let's start with the playoff format changes. I'll simply say it was a loser proposal with a loser mentality by losing people. Okay? Stop complaining. Oh, I didn't win the division, but I should get a playoff game. No, you shouldn't. The only way that would ever work is if you balanced out the entire schedule, right? If you wanted to do that, then if you're an NFC team, 15 of your next games are against the other 15 NFC teams, and you get 2 non-conference games a year, and that's it. That's it. That's the only way that makes sense. Then you have to get rid of the division games, and the NFL will never do that because the rivalries and the TV revenue from Bears, Packers, from Ravens, Steelers, from Cowboys, Eagles matters every year to the league. So it was a loser proposal, a loser mentality all around. Can't believe it was the Lions who actually did it. Glad they actually withdrew it. But yeah, it's already on the record. Loser. Olympic stuff. I don't need it. Honestly, put it this way. I'm still struggling to see who plays better American football than the United States of America in the world. I don't know that anybody does it better than us. It's not fun for me to watch NFL players beat up on Lithuania 77-0 in a flag football game. What does that prove? Okay, I'd rather the amateurs do it. I would take the same angle I take towards Team USA men's basketball. Call me when they lose. Then I'll be interested. I won't watch Team USA basketball in the Olympics anymore. I don't have to. It's a fait accompli. They're going to win. So call me when they lose, and I'll get excited. But we don't need NFL players. Why don't we let the amateurs have a crack at it at first? And let's see where we are, right? Let's have people who would never otherwise get a chance to go to the Olympics instead of, the millionaires who already have everything that they need. So don't need that. What are the other rules? What else are we missing here? I didn't like that.
You can let Donnie ask a question. Donnie can follow up on
I'll say this. I'll say one more thing real quick.
Yeah, Ben was a bad host on this one.
So I'll say one more thing real quick. The Bills on Hard Knocks, I hate it because, whatever team that was on Hard Knocks actually had a good year that year. It's just bad juju, man. It's like being on the Madden cover. I just don't need the juju. Doesn't do it.
I don't mind the Bills being on it. I don't mind them being there. I think it's a decent one. I think the in-season one is the NFC East, which, again, the Eagles had one during their Super Bowl year, I think, on, like, Amazon, which I never watched one time. Like, when I'm watching it, I don't need to go back like, I wonder if they beat the Cowboys the week before. No, I think I watched them beat the Cowboys. Why do I have to rehash it?
When are they going to fold the hand on Hard Knocks? Is it even interesting anymore? Like, it's run its course.
Not really. Yeah.
That's the tough part, right? It used to be like in August before we had every social media and video department for every NFL franchise that is as good, not quite as good. NFL Films is fantastic, but so good at what they do that you get those behind the scenes look. You get to peel the curtain back and get to see the offseason preparation basically for every NFL franchise.
On their Twitter account.
Hard Knocks doesn't really serve its purpose where it used to be satiating that desire for football. In August, it was like, welcome back football when we got Hard Knocks. I do agree, Zeno.
Yeah, it's just run its course. Time to get rid of it.
By the way, if we are looking at time to get rid of something here, how about the onside kick, Mark? And we're going to move it up 1 yard. Oh, hell is going to break loose and be revolutionary. Either have it the way it's intended to or not. And also, a caveat there, you can't do it when you're winning, only when you're losing late. How about that? Terrible.
Again, loser mentality, loser proposal. I'm allowed to kick your ass if I want to kick your ass. How's that sound?
Yes.
If I want to run it up and leave no doubt, these are paid professionals. Go cry about it. This isn't rec ball. It's not peewee. It's not high school. These are professionals. If you don't like getting scored upon, stop it. Okay? It's really not a hard form. See, again, in the NFL has become this whole, it's all got to be fair. We all have to be equal. Everybody's got to be the same. You suck. They make they keep killing the golden goose. The problem is that every dumb schmuck will never realize that if you just not watch this stuff and take part in it, guess what? Things will go back to normal, right? The pendulum will shift back in the other direction.
If there's ever been a guy that lives that to a T, that has that become his life's credo, it's Mark Zeno, who did not watch Super Bowl 59 to check out Dog Cop or whatever it was in theaters.
Dogman, yeah.
And then his Dogman, and then his parenting style question for all to see on social media. The last one,
Lord.
Protector of the Year. I think it's awesome. Let's give some respect to the guys up front. Let's give some due to the Hog Mollies on the O-line. I did notice, however, FanDuel Sportsbook does not have odds up for this new prestigious award. It begins, I believe, right away in 2025, right? Like it starts for this upcoming. No?
I'm with you on all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like the name. Protector of the Year. Sounds like a bad movie. Like, does he wear a big P in the middle of his shirt? Like, I'm Protector of the Year. Like, most outstanding O-lineman, most outstanding OL. Like, Protector of the Year. Like, what a stupid name. Like,
it does seem a little bit more gimmicky than the other awards.
Corny.
I would agree. Zeno, if you had to do the FanDuel Sportsbook a favor and set the favorite for O-lineman of the year, for Protector of the Year, who would that be entering 2025?
Laremy Tunsil, right? It's going to be a left tackle. It's absolutely going to be a left tackle. It's got to be a left tackle.
The Washington Commander. I like that.
You're not giving it to a non-left tackle in year one. Like whatever the left tackles are, I'd play all of them. There's no other guy who's going to get it.
This is fun. See, this is why we're happy to have Mark Zeno back. We now talk some Major League Baseball next.
The Tigers, 31-17, Matt, on the season. They've got the best pitching in baseball, but don't look now. The Twins are now on their heels at 26-21.
The best hitters can't stay healthy. We obviously saw a situation last week where two of those guys got hurt on the same play. So that's the Twins, and I think Twins fans, I'm up in Twins country. Twins fans know that up here, and you're kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Boston knew they were in trouble, Tom, but the most important thing is they fed off of their crowd, and in that third quarter, when Boston could have made a run, the Knicks just put that one last run together to put the game away.
So it was good to see them, to round this all together, good to see them finally put all the pieces in place to close out the series and say, yes, we are playing our best basketball, because that's what they're going to need against the Pacers.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division, to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I knew it. I knew at one point. I knew there was going to be one point with these two hooligans to my left that something was going to be said. Probably as DRS has always done, with perfect comedic timing, with about 3 seconds left before we return on camera from commercial break. All right, we now look at Major League Baseball with Mark Zitto. Of course, this past weekend, Zitto, rivalry weekend in the Bigs, and for you, a Yankees fan and supporter, a big weekend in the Bronx between the Yanks and the Mets in the first Subway Series of 2025, and the return of Juan Soto to his former home for a year inside Yankee Stadium. Not a great weekend set for Soto. Booed a ton in his opening at-bat on Friday night up in the Bronx. Not really a great year for Juan Soto so far, the $700 million man for the New York Mets. The season stats for Soto: only 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, and a .243 batting average. Last night, they tried to move him around a little bit in the lineup. Did Carlos Mendoza and the Amazons, having Soto bat third. He was 0 for 3 at the dish with 3 strikeouts, did record an RBI on a sac fly. So, Zeno, what have you made of Juan Soto's struggles so far in his first year with the Mets?
That Aaron Judge guy is pretty good, and he's nice to have batting in front of you. That helps. I mean, it's undeniable at this point in time that Soto's amazing year last year, that by most accounts would have won MVP across the board, only finished second to a guy who hit 60 home runs, or nearly 60 home runs again. So the point simply is that it's a different environment here with the Mets. Look, I think the Mets and their fans are kind of looking at this the wrong way. I don't know. I'm still a huge – no, listen, I can burn my Juan Soto MVP ticket because he's not going to win the MVP. That said, I still think they're looking at this wrong. Like, hey, guess what? We're in first place. We are a really good team. We are scoring runs regardless. And our best player, our best hitter, is still only batting .243 with 8 home runs. Juan Soto's going to get hot again. Like, he's going to come around. He's always done that. He's too good of a hitter and too good of a player not to. Does it look even worse when you're not running out balls that you thought were home runs? Okay, yeah, it does. There's a litany of guys who have done that in Major League Baseball. People need to get over this at this point in time. Look, I am all for that. get your ass out of the box and run down the line, right? Give me the Derek Jeter over everybody. But the idea that we're going to get upset like this doesn't happen routinely, and I watch it here in Atlanta, regardless, with Ronald Acuna, you have to live with it. Some guys are just that way. Not everybody's going to put their head down and run to first base. That's just the reality of some guys. You're never going to force them to be somebody different. But you can't, crucify the guy and write him off as a bad signing, especially at the contract you paid him, because he didn't run out of ball to first base. I still think the Mets are going to win this division. I still think Juan Soto is going to have a more than respectable year. He's still going to end up with 30, 35 bombs on the year and driving close to 100 runs. Why wouldn't he? He's done it every year of his career. As long as he stays healthy, he'll put up those kind of numbers. Mets fans need to chill.
Yeah, tough PR week for Soto, too. All the reports coming out, true or not true, where he's flying on planes, mom's getting new wardrobes out here, security for the fan base. By the way, security, Mark, for the family at home and away games. This isn't like Pops Halliburton or somebody we recognize. Do we really recognize Soto's family? There's an issue with they can't walk around the pavilion out there at Citi Field or in away games?
Well, maybe he needs to be the protector of the year. That would be a good award for whoever's doing that job. See? Sounds a lot better for that guy than it does for the most outstanding offensive lineman. But that's neither here nor there. Again, the extracurricular stuff that was probably in place before anything ever happened is only becoming an issue because of lack of production. If he was putting up numbers at this point this year that he was at this point last year, no one cares, right? We're only making a big deal out of it because the numbers are substandard. That kind of comes with the whole turf. You have to live with that. But again, all this stuff, I could be wrong. I don't know 100%, but the family thing and the dynamic of them getting preferential treatment, I feel like that was already in place before any of this started, right? It doesn't make sense that all of a sudden, because he only has 8 home runs, his family is being threatened. No, I think that stuff was in place to begin with.
Yeah, there were certainly contingencies in his very large contract for these things to be there. And the false report that Juan Soto flies privately with his family and away from the team is something that DRS still likes to mention, despite the fact it was debunked. The Phils have won 6 games in a row. They have a 1.5 game lead in the National League East. They have won 6 straight against the Pirates and the Rockies, -110 for Philadelphia as the NL East favorites. But the Mets did win last night. They still have 30 wins this year. Mark Zinno, always a thank you.
Time to celebrate with Mark.
The Tigers, 31-17, Matt, on the season. They've got the best pitching in baseball, but don't look now. The Twins are now on their heels at 26-21.
The best hitters can't stay healthy. We obviously saw a situation last week where 2 of those guys got hurt on the same play. So that's the Twins, and I think Twins fans, I'm up in Twins country. Twins fans know that up here, and you're kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Boston knew they were in trouble, Tom, but the most important thing is they fed off of their crowd, and in that third quarter, when Boston could have made a run, the Knicks just put that one last run together to put the game away.
So it was good to see them, to round this all together, good to see them finally put all the pieces in place to close out the series and say, yes, we are playing our best basketball, because that's what they're going to need against the Pacers.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division, to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie
You've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.